Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today is my goodness, what is today? The 5th of March. It's the clock is, the time, the clock, the calendar, everything is moving. So I would love to say hello, but you already know who I am. So let's get into it. So here are some things that you can do to increase your performance. I am speaking to you from an employment litigator perspective. I'm also speaking to you as someone who has been on the HR leadership team, and I'm also speaking to you as someone who is very well acquainted to the fact that more often than not, there are some things that some employees just don't do for themselves, which is the reason why many of them falter, if you will. So let's get into it. So, number one of the things that you have to do is you have to, number one, very important, hold a high bar for yourself. Before you reach out to any lawyer and you say to a lawyer, hey, I'm experiencing discrimination in the workplace. I was fired based on the fact that I never received any feedback and they put me on a performance improvement plan. If you are not familiar with what a performance improvement plan is, let's go ahead and talk about what that is very quickly so that you can anchor yourself in some good information. A performance improvement plan is essentially a company's way of documenting that you have not met, quote, open quotes, expectations, close quotes. The reason why this is important is because it is a company's way of demonstrating that they're not firing you or you did not get fired based on any sort of illegal reason. No organization in the United States is permitted to violate state law or federal law. State law, depending on the state that they're in, and federal law across the board. Federal law looks at a number of things related to workplace discrimination. So, when it comes to workplace discrimination, many organizations will say very quickly that they did not discriminate against you because of your gender or because of your race or because of your religious affiliation or because of your national origin or because of the fact that you are disabled, intellectually disabled, or physically disabled, or you needed an accommodation. Organizations are going to be very quick to say that is not the reason why they have fired you. They're going to come up with another reason. And typically, that reason has something to do with your performance. It is 100% legal. It is 100% legal for an organization to remove you from the organization if you are not meeting the bar and the expectation when it comes to your performance. So, a performance improvement plan is designed to document the fact that your work has not met said expectations. And because it has not met said expectations, you are now given a very, very, very short window into having an opportunity to correct the fact that you have not met the expectations by doing the work that is expected of you, documenting that you've done the work, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you do, you end up graduating off that performance improvement plan. And if you do not, too bad, so sad. So that is what a performance improvement plan is. So because of the fact that a performance improvement plan is designed to document what you should have done already and what you need to continue to do moving forward, what I want you to do as a very first measure is to hold a high bar for yourself. That's the first tip. We're talking about three things that you could do to increase your performance in a company and to increase your performance, to better your performance review. Number one, I need you to hold a high bar to yourself. Often we take a page from our previous experiences. We take a page from the negative people that we have around us, including family members, including our coworkers, including our friends that may or may not be working. It's easy to take a page and to agree, take a page from their book and to agree with them that work is not great, work sucks, this is not what you've signed up for. It's very easy to do that. What I want you to do instead of simply agreeing with this organization, my goodness, my mind is already is focused on consulting because I had a number of conversations about that today. Instead of you just taking a page from these individuals, what I want you to do is hold a high bar for yourself. I don't care how long you've been in that organization. I don't care how long you have attempted to get a deeper understanding. I don't care how long of the company. I don't care how long you've attempted to get promoted. You need to move with integrity and hold a high bar for yourself. You need to ask yourself, what is it that you want to be known for? What is it that you want to be known for? What is your personal brand? And here, your professional brand, I should say, in this instance. And here, this is very important because you would be surprised at how people already see you, especially if you've been with the company for a long time. There is a brand already associated. Let me give you an example. I worked with an individual who, let's name her Tabitha. I worked with, I don't want to name her Tabitha. Let's name her, let's name her Katie. I worked with Katie, and Katie and I, when I entered into the organization, I was a level above her. She'd been with the company for 5 years. I was a level above her. We both reported to the same individual. The person that we reported to was removed from the organization. And then when the person was removed, they bumped me into that role on the interim basis, but they bumped me into that role, which meant that Katie, though she had done the work for quite some time, and though she had been with the company for quite some time, was now reporting to me. Katie did not like that. Katie thought it was very obvious. She never said it, but Katie thought I should be in the role. I've been in this company for a long time. I've done this work for a long time. There's no reason why they are not putting me into that role. Again, she's never said it, but I was picking up what she was putting down. I'm like, you low-key are a hater, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and just keep moving forward. We were at headquarters one time, and you would not believe what she decided to say to me. We're at headquarters, and I found that she was being very difficult, not really supporting, not really wanting to give forth information in order for the team to be successful. My focus was we need this team to be successful. It's not about me, it's not about you. We got to get this team together. So, because I deal with conflict every single day, and because it's one of the things that I am gifted in, thank you to God for that, because it's one of the things that I'm gifted in, I immediately picked up that this is a great opportunity for me to try to figure out what is going on with her so that we can get past this specific issue. So I simply said, Katie, what is it that you want? And she was like, well, with the work, I said, no, 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 no. I don't want to just talk about the work with you. I want to know quite specifically, what is it that you want? She said, I want a brand. Just immediately, she said, I want a brand. I want a brand. I want to be known for something in this company. And I paused internally. I did not pause externally. I immediately went to the whiteboard that was there and I just started writing things down because I was like, let me go ahead and just take this because this could be a good opportunity for me to coach her and support her in some way. It should have not been the role that I was playing. That was an error. Looking back, that was an error on my end. I should have not been playing coach to her. But in that moment, that's what I decided to do. So I said, okay, what type of brand do you want? When I asked her that question, she began to give me a number of adjectives and a number of things that she really wanted for herself. But I paused internally because she did not realize that she already had a brand. She already had a brand. She had a reputation in the company as someone who was uh, so particular to the point that her particularity about the work would stop the work. She had a brand as someone who no one wanted to work with because she had a takeover thing about her. She would start working with a bunch of people, and because she always thought, and this is real life true story, always thought that she was the smartest person in the room. I peeped that very early. I discerned that. I picked it up from her very early on when we would be in team meetings and I was brand new and I was being onboarded and I would just sit back and relax. She would always snide when someone would give a recommendation. And if it wasn't a physical snide, she would do one of these sorts of things. And that is just rude, okay? That is just rude. And so what I recognized was that uh, this person would be very difficult. And she had a reputation and she didn't even know she had a reputation. So when she said, I want a reputation, I want a brand, I thought to myself, honey, it's already there. It's already there. Why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because you too already have a brand. Even if you don't know that you have a brand, the brand is already there. The brand exists. People know you for something, whether it's good or bad, people know you for something. I highly recommend, as an exercise, that you go and take some time to discover what your current brand is, because that will give you an opportunity to shift and to pivot and to do something else, or to start from scratch. Okay. To start from scratch, what you want to do is you want to take an opportunity to recognize that you have the ability to change your brand. You have the ability to do something different. You have the ability to go in a different direction, but you have to be intentional about it. Okay. So be sure that you're holding a high bar for yourself. That's the first tip. The second tip is, what you want to do is you want to compare your current work against your job description. Now, your job description is a data point. That's all it is. It's a very important data point, but it is a data point. And as we know, data points can change over time. So, because your job description and what is expected of you can change, what you want to do is you want to just make sure that you're clear, number one, on whether or not there has been any change on what you're currently working on against your job description that was given to you originally, or that you were hired against originally. And if it was not, if it was change, what you want to do is you want to begin documenting what that change was, how that change was supported by your manager or your leader, and the things that you have been doing based on the change and the shift. If it has not been changed, this is a perfect exercise for you to take an opportunity to say, you know what? I need to make sure that I'm doing exactly what I was hired for. Why is that important? That is important, again, because if you are an individual that is put on a performance improvement plan, that performance improvement plan will that performance improvement plan will surprise you if you're somebody who has not been paying attention to your job description, or not doing what is expected of from your job description. So again, your job description is something that is absolutely critical. It's an important data point. If you do not have the job description currently, you can get a copy of that job description from your manager. And it's just one of the ways that you want to make sure that you're raising the bar for yourself. So that's what you say. I'm curious if I can have a copy of my job description. It's just one of the ways that I want to make sure that I'm raising the bar for myself, and really just comparing where I currently am and where I need to go, and any gaps that I need to close. That's what you're going to say. You're also going to make sure that if you are brand new in the organization, that you keep a copy of that job description. Whenever there is a role that somebody has reached out to me for, or any person, anything that's interesting that I see online, I immediately will get a copy of the job description, and I will find a way to save that job description. I will save it. I will put it in. I will save the PDF. I will print it out. I will do something to save it, because it has served me in the past many a times, and it will serve you as well to do this. The third thing that I want you to start doing, and this is thematic to what I always recommend people do, is start asking clarifying questions. You want to make sure that you're asking clarifying questions about your performance. You want to make sure that when it's time for you to go through your review, that you have at least 3 to 4 questions for your manager. What do you mean you went to your performance evaluation review with your manager, and you sat down and he or she told you all these things, and you didn't ask not one question? Girl, you didn't ask not one question. There's not one question. You didn't ask nary a question. You're not curious about anything. You don't disagree. You agree with everything. I know there's a disagreement somewhere, and you've said nothing about it. You're playing in your own face. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are asking clarifying questions. Is the cycle of the performance evaluation going to continue into the next year, or is there going to be any shifts in the cycle? Why is that important? Because the performance evaluation cycle is dependent on the fiscal year in the organization. The fiscal year in the organization dictates how much money is given to individuals based on their final review for a raise, that everybody gets that little 2%. there's a lot of interworking, so you want to get the information because it is important. Even if you, for those of you who don't care about what's happening in the background with HR, it's still important information. What inputs do you need? That's a question that you're going to ask your manager. You want to ask your manager, are there any gaps that you noticed from last year that I have effectively closed? If your manager is a hater, your manager is going to say no. If their manager says no, you need to document that. You need to be very clear on what it is that your manager is saying that you have not done well, so your manager doesn't end up putting you on a performance evaluation. Excuse me, a PIP, a performance improvement plan. You don't want your manager to put you on a PIP and all of a sudden you're just shocked and taken aback and confused because you're just like, well, wait a minute. Why is it that I'm on a performance evaluation all of a sudden when I've done everything that I needed to do. Now you're looking confused and wondering what is going on. And the truth of the matter is that you should have been asking these questions very early on. If there was an opportunity for you to ask questions, you should have been asking those questions. You will always have an opportunity to ask questions. There will never be any manager here on earth, hopefully not, but here on earth, that will tell you that no, you don't have any questions. At the end, when they wrap, they always ask, do you have any questions for me? Even if they don't mean it, ask a question, right? So one of the questions that you can ask, again, when is the cycle? Or is there any anticipation that the cycle will change? Is there something that I need to be aware of as far as my performance is concerned? Is there something that I need to be aware of as far as your expectations of me? Is the team continuing to grow, or are there going to be some shifts in how we are moving as a team? These are important things. You have to take a posture of being a learner, number one, and number two, taking the posture of someone who is curious. When you are genuinely curious, number one, if you're curious, you are going to be a nosy person. That's just par for the course. But besides for you wanting to be a nosy person, not a gossiper, somebody who is genuinely curious, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're asking questions, because as you ask questions, you continue to get more information. As you continue to get more information, you are in a stronger position so that nobody can play in your own face. If you have read a book very well and someone comes to you and says, I am reading this book, and they tell you about the plot, and you're like, that can't be right because I read the book and I know the book very well. You have now caught someone that is trying to deceive you and trying to pull the wool over your eyes. We are not allowing the wool to be pulled over our eyes in 2026 and beyond, because we are doing what? Asking questions. You are asking questions. And as a bonus, before I drop, one of the things that you should consider doing, which is very important, is make sure that you are setting up a quarterly conversation. Some organizations, depending on the size and the resources, already have quarterly conversations set up, which is excellent. But if you work for an organization that does not currently have a quarterly conversation set up, you should be proactive in setting one up. Your regular one-on-one with your manager is typically about the work. It's typically about moving projects along, certain plans that you're working on, the things that you own, et cetera, et cetera. A quarterly conversation is going to look and feel different because it's going to be like a mini performance evaluation. You're going to ask 2 to 3 questions. And during that time, this is your opportunity to get more detailed information on what it is that you need to do, or how things are moving, whether or not you're doing better, whether or not things are not as good, et cetera. So you are not caught unawares. The last thing that you ever want is to be caught unawares when it comes to your evaluation, when it comes to your performance. And that typically happens when people are not actively asking questions, number one, not paying attention and keeping their ear to the ground, number two, and worse yet, they have not set a high bar for themselves. Because when you set a high bar for yourself, nobody can catch you unawares, because you're just like, I know I can do better on this particular project. On the next one, it's going to be amazing. So set a high bar for yourself. Be sure that you're comparing your current work to your job description as written, or at least ensuring that you have a deep understanding and a confirmation that your job description has changed, your work expectations have shifted, and be better at asking clarifying questions. If you've never asked any clarifying questions, just start with who, what, when, where, why. Just start with who, what, when, where, why. That'll take you very far. All right. So, if this was helpful to you, by way of introduction, for those who are not familiar with me, my name is Elizabeth. I am the workplace lawyer, and I am dedicated to supporting two things. Number one, organizational excellence. I am an organizational development consultant. I support organizations with ensuring that they are moving in a way that drives people centric strategy and compliance with the law. That's number one. And number two, for individuals who are looking to grow their careers, individuals who identify as Black or Brown. I support Black and Brown women, individuals who want to flex their courage muscle. I host a quarterly group called Courage in Corporate, and Courage in Corporate is a private group closed off to the public where we have real conversations. But beyond having real conversations, we don't just sit there, not in a way to drive any sort of therapeutic, hand wavy, amorphous, feely, touchy environment. We actually come up with solutions. I drive strategy sessions and I support individuals so that way they can continue to show up excellently in the workplace. Alrighty, so I will catch you all tomorrow. We're going to keep the conversation going about performance improvement plans, what you can and can't do, what you should and should not do, and how to manage yourself if you find yourself getting hit with the unfortunate and the upsetting performance evaluation that many people are hit with regularly. Alrighty, so I'll catch you on the next one. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.